Welcome back to Box Delights. It's a cold and wet evening here today, so it's a perfect opportunity to show you some advanced Strat-o-matic baseball. We're at home in Kansas City. Visitors are Chicago. We've completed the first inning and we're at the top of the second. And what I'd like to do now is switch to the advanced game. So if you haven't seen it yet and you want to learn the basic game, go back and look at the previous episode. James Shields is on the mound for Kansas City, and we're going to flip him over to this side. Alright, now this spot on the board is great for the basic game, but for the advanced game we're going to just place the pitcher a little closer at hand. Switch to the Chicago scoreboard. At bat is Alexei Ramirez, and again we're going to switch to the advanced side of all our batter cards. The significant thing here is the lefty-righty matchup, okay, and that's a big part of baseball. Whether the pitcher throws left or right-handed will impact the hitter's visibility of the pitch and being able to read the pitch and get a good read on whether it's fast, slow, coming down the inside or the outside of the plate, that kind of stuff. So each hitter also has a left and right. Typically when the pitcher and the batter share the same handedness, then the pitcher typically has the advantage. In this example, James Shields throws right. Alexei Ramirez, we look here on the hitter's card, hits right. Okay. These numbers here, 25% against left-handed pitchers, 75% against right, they just reflect how often in the season we're playing, this is 2014, that hitter faced a left-handed or right-handed pitcher. They have no effect whatsoever on gameplay. These power ratings do. Now, a hitter can be weak against a lefty or normal against a lefty, and likewise for a right-handed pitcher. Okay, so Alexei Ramirez, he's got normal hitting against left and right. He's not particularly weak against either. You see these same percentages here. Again, it's just how many batters they faced in that season. No effect on gameplay at all. Since both players are right-handed, we're going to be looking at the red text. If the hitter was left-handed, then James Shields would use this section. If the pitcher was left-handed, then Alexei Ramirez would use this section. Alright? Let's roll the dice and see how this plays out. We're going to play exactly the same as previously. So we roll the white die for the pitch. It's a 6, which means we're playing off the pitcher's card. And we're facing a right-hander, so it's the red section. And then for the hit we get a 6. So we can see we got a split decision here. It's a 1 or 2, it's a triple, a 3 till 20, a double. Let's roll for Alexei. He's got a good hit. It's a 3, oh so close, it's a double. That's a great lead off for Chicago. Let's mark it up on his scorecard. So that's 2 bases. And Gillespie's coming in to bat. Now Gillespie is a lefty. Now what you'll find is as we head towards the latter end of the game, as we head towards the 9th inning, the manager in a traditional game will start thinking about this lefty-righty matchup. With a left-handed hitter coming in, might afford to go to his bullpen, these are our relief pitchers, switch out a right-handed pitcher and bring in a left-handed pitcher to face a left-handed hitter. Right, but once the pitcher's left the game, they can't come back. So there's a lot of strategy around changing your pitchers as you get towards the end of the game. Now there are rules for pitcher endurance. Normally a pitcher is going to go somewhere between 90 and 100 is a long stretch of pitching. What I like to do as a basic introduction to using the pitcher endurance, after the name here, starter, where it says he's a pitcher, fielding 3, he's a starting pitcher, there's a number in brackets 7. What that means is, when we head into the 7th inning, James Shields will become vulnerable to fatigue. I'll introduce that to you a little bit later on in the game. When we look at fatigue later on, what you'll see is this dot here shows 7 innings fatigued. The strikeout will become a single star start. But for now, one recommendation, and this is the way I play with my son, is we don't use vulnerable to fatigue. What we say is that James Shields can pitch a maximum of 7 innings. So it's a little house rule. And then once we hit the 7th inning, if we want to bring in a reliever, like here, Jason Fraser, he's got relief 1. We say, and this is our house rule, Fraser can pitch for 1 inning. Alright? He's Chicago as it goes. Now, one thing you'll discover about Strat-o-matic is that there's a whole wealth of rules available to you. Which rules you choose is kind of up to you. So a lot of players will kind of mix in basic, advanced and super advanced rules to suit how they want to play. Right? That's how we play, but I'm going to show you how to play proper pitcher endurance according to the rule book. The other thing about pitcher endurance is you might say, well, why don't I just put my best starting pitcher in and let him pitch all the time? You can do if you're playing one game, but like in cricket where you have a test match series of 5 games, in baseball you kind of do the same thing. When the guys are on the road or at home, normally you'll have a series of 2, 3 or 4 games in the trot against the same opponent. So when you're playing this, think about playing a series of games. And what that means is when you use a pitcher for a game, he's got to take a rest, okay? He's got to rest for 3 or 4 games between starts. If the guy has an asterisk, then he can be he can rest for 3 games instead of 4. Now if we look at James Shields, he's one of those pitchers who does only need 3 games. He has an asterisk. But there's no asterisk here on his card. Instead, you have to look at the roster sheet, which is a separate piece of paper that comes with the base game. Now if you're ordering individual decks of cards, then you can always print these off. They are available from the Strat-o-matic.com. You can find roster sheets for all seasons. So if we look at James Shields on here, this is the 2014 roster, Kansas City. He has an asterisk, and that means he only needs 3 rests between games. All these other pitchers, they need 4 rests, 4 games when they're not pitching. Now then, let's roll those dice. So Shields against Gillespie. Keep the infield back for now. We'll just keep it simple. So the pitch comes in. It's a 2. So it's off the hitter's card. It looks like we're going to have an out. It's a 7. Yeah, that's not going to be good. It's a fly to central field. B ? This one plays pretty much the same as the basic rules. Alright, so we go to our basic strategy chart. Now there's going to be an advanced strategy chart for hit and run, sacrifice, squeeze plays. Okay, but in terms of ground balls and fly balls and stealing, you're going to continue to use the basic chart. Alright, so fly ball B, it tells us that the batter's out on the fly out and the runner on third scores, other runners hold. What about that question mark? Well, the question mark says instead of the runner on third automatically scoring, like in the basic game, you have to roll a die and check their running rating. Okay, so the manager can choose to hold him on third or ask him to try and run in and score. Obviously that only counts when we're less than 2 outs. As it stands, Conor Gillespie's out on a fly ball to centre field. So we'll mark that up. So that's a fly to centre field. Centre field is number 8, and that's the first out. No, it's not. It's a right-handed pitcher. Sorry, wrong column. It's a 2-7 is a strikeout. Next up is Kaneko. DH. Let's roll the pitch. It's a 1, it's off Kaneko's card. This could be good for him. Against the right-hander, so we're looking red. It's a 10. It's a ground ball to the second baseman, a C, underline. We can ignore the underline. The underline's only used if we're playing against like legacy teams, old teams. These guys didn't have ground ball C on a batter's card. So if you're playing against an old pitcher, turn that into a ground ball A. And a ground ball A underline would become a ground ball C. You kind of reverse them. Okay, so as it stands, we've got a ground ball to second baseman. So it's back to our basic strategy chart. Ground ball C, batters out at first, and runners advance 1 base. So Kaneko hits the ground ball to the second baseman, running up the line. Ball's thrown over. First baseman catches it. He's out. At the same time, Ramirez here has advanced to third. Not a bad result. We'll put a number 7 here to show that he advanced to third off batter number 7, and he's on a ground out to second baseman. So it's a 4 and the second out. Flowers is up. He's a righty. So let's just roll. It's 5. Could be more interesting if it wasn't the second out, but it looks like that's going to be the end of the innings. Let's see. We've got a 7. So yeah, that's a ground ball to the second baseman, X. Okay, let's see how we do. Second baseman is Infante. He has a fielding rating of 3, so he's not particularly good second baseman. And this time we've got the advanced fielding chart. Okay, so we're looking for the second baseman 3. We're going to roll the split die, and it's a 2. Oh, that's a bad piece of fielding. Even for a rated 1 second baseman, it would have been alright. Even for a rated 2, it's not good. For a rated 3, it's a single star. Remember, the star means the base runners automatically get 2 bases, 1 for each star. Okay. What's interesting here is that if I'd have rolled somewhere between 8 and 12, right? It says roll dice on splits 8 to 12. What you do in this instance is you rolled an error. An error is when the hitter or runner advances, or maybe a hitter, as a result of the fielder making an error. So what you do is you look at the fielder. So this was second baseman. All right. So let's assume we'd rolled somewhere between 8 and 12. We look at Omar Infante. He's our second baseman. And right next to his fielding rating, so his second baseman rated 3, remember that's the column we used, it says E14. And what that means is we look at the E14 box out of all these boxes here. This means we have to roll the 6-sided dice, and all 3 of them, okay? Oh dear, we've got a 2 and a 4, not good. We're E14, remember. So we look at the red dice results, the coloured dice results. It's a 2, so we get the 2 range. Okay, if we had, say, a 5 and a 1, that's 6, then we'd be up here, 6 to 8. It would be a ground ball A. As it goes, we're in the 2 range. Now, with the 2 range, there's multiple readings. There's E1, there's 1 GBA, 2 to 6. And this is where the white die comes in. What this tells us is if the white die is a number 1, then we get the E1 result. An error has occurred at a base. On a 2 to 6, which is we got 4, it's a ground ball A. So we managed to escape with ground ball A. So a lot going on. You've really got to make sure you've got the best field. All right. As it goes, we were lucky. We got a single, and lead runner has scored on that single. So let's chalk it up. We've scored off number 8, Tide of Flowers. Shade that one in. It's nice and dark then, so you can see that that's a run scored. And this counts as a single, not an error for Flowers. We're at the bottom of the order now. Danks, Jordan Danks, he's a lefty. So still stand a chance of getting someone on. We've got a man on. Let's roll him, let's see what happens. Okay, it's a 4 off a left-handed hitter, so it's James Shields, and we're in the blue this time. This could be good. We've got a couple of nice results here, particularly a 6. It's always good when the bottom of the order gets off the pitcher's card. It's a 10. And it says catch X. We know Salvador Perez is a good catcher for the Kansas City Royals. He's rated 1. So again, it's back to the fielder's chart, the advanced fielding chart for the catcher's card. Splits are going to be 9 to 12. He's a catcher rating 1. Let's roll our D20. It's a 1, but that's terrible. It's no problem for Salvi. It says pass ball and foul out. This one's a bit trickier to get the rule down, but a foul out means that the ball's gone past the hitter, it's come off their bat, and the catcher's caught it. Okay, the hitter's out. But there's also a chance, particularly because this is kind of a difficult pitch for the catcher to deal with. The pass ball means that the catcher is going to completely miss the ball. It's going to fly off, hit the netting behind the batter, behind the catcher, and that means that might actually turn into a single. So what we've got to do is we've got to check the catcher's rating once more. Let's look at Salvi's card. Now next to his catcher fielding rating of 1, and there's an E rating, there's a T rating, there's also a pass ball rating. And for Salvi it's really good, it's a 1. He's a pretty good catcher. What that means, we have to roll the D20. Anything higher than this rating and it will be a foul out. Let's roll it once more. Anything higher than a 1 please. Yeah, the 20, no problem at all. So that's the final out of the innings. Even if there was a pass ball, what it means is if I rolled a 1, so it's equal to or less than the catcher's pass ball rating, our base runners would advance, but this guy's still going to get out, okay, because it said pass ball and foul out. So let's just chalk it up. It's foul out to the catcher, number 2, and that's the 3rd out of the innings. Next time we'll look at some more of the advanced rules, so we'll look at stealing, cutting off runners, that kind of stuff. Join me next time.